I'm a soft skills trainer in Italy, Germany, and Austria. And my mission is to leave a path in the heart and in the mind of the person. As from my side, it's very important to have a good communication, to understand, first of all, ourselves, and then to have a look to see who is in front of me.
There's not only a way to communicate. If you have a global way to see the person, not only, yes, I see her, so I know her. No, you have to take into account also all the other things. So you can really say, well, that's communication. When you see who is in front of me, what is he talking about?
Yes.
I have to leave him space to be himself, and not watching him and thinking, well, I already know this. It's not the kind of communication.
Wow, you're talking about, to me, you're describing truly what is like empathic communication is. It's creating a space where
Yes.
a person can totally flourish, so to speak, can totally
Yes.
be there for herself.
So I think you should pay attention, as most people think, well, I'm empathic. I think I'm empathic. But to be empathic is not to say, oh, it's a pity that you stay like this, what we should do. It's not the empathic way. The empathic way is not to say, oh, it's not so, or maybe to talk about another thing. This is not an empathic way. I think the empathic way is telling the other person, well, thank you that you talked me about your problem. In this moment, I don't know what to say you. It's not worse to say this, but to be present and to be there, to have this connection with the other person. But when you are empathic, you are vulnerable, as you have to imagine yourself in a similar situation to get at the same level. It's true, when you are here and you say, well, everything is well, and the other person is here, you can reach them. So you go a step down, but if you can do it, if you can't do it, it's better to be only present, and that's enough. But if you can go down and you can take the walk with the other person to go up. But it's not like this, it's like this.
Like
yes.
a spiral step.
Yes. It's not possible to take somebody who is here upside here. You have to make this, you go in this way with the other person. But I think the most important thing is that you must not give tips to the person what to do. Right. Just be there, just be present and listening to the other person. In most cases, is this the real empathic way to be with somebody? Yes.
Thank you. And also, hello, Brady. She says hello to us. And Mariella also, and she's asking, what do you mean for communication?
Yes, for me, communication is to let the other person be the other person, and a curious way to get to know the other person, and a way to talk about myself in an honest way, and not make me a mask, but to be myself. That's for me a real communication.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very organic, I guess. It's like you see the other person, you know the other person, but at the same time, you unreveal, you get yourself naked, so to speak.
Yes, as for many years, I was used to use the masks. As I have to make to meet this person, so I make this mask and this mask. And at the end, when I was not going on very well, the other people told me, why? You are the person who is every day positive. Why are you like this? Oh, then I understood. I can be myself. It's no problem. I can cry. It's no problem. I must not be the woman who checks everything.
Yes, I also feel that the easier, like always, sometimes it's easier said than done. But if we give permission to ourselves to feel how we feel, to be ourselves, regardless to how people can perceive us. I mean, at the end, really, I think it's as you say, it's the best way to communicate, because Others, they might not like me, they might not like us, but they've seen the real thing. Because as you said, if whenever we communicate in a way that it's out of fear or judgment, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because then people are expecting us to communicate it to be in a way then we can't always be because.
Yes, I think a lot of people thinks, well, in my job, how I can do this. Normally in a job, yes, you have situations where you can't be 100% yourself, but you must not lie to yourself. And when you get aware about other people, you understand them better. And here is one important point. There are some principles of communication, and one is the responsibility. At the beginning, when I got know this, I thought, well, it's not so easy, but you have the responsibility. So when you talk with a person and the other person do not understand you, it's you. It's you to reformulate. It's you to make everything that the other person can understand. What we do normally, what I did, what I sometimes do is, well, this person does not understand me. I can do nothing. So, so it's easy like this to say it like this.
No responsibility.
Yeah. When you check this, you understand that it's you.
Thank you for clarifying. Let's see other question or comments. Marina, she's writing, presence when communicating without ego seems the best way.
Yes, yes. It's really the best way. And when communicating in this way, I think it's amazing when the other persons come to you as they say, well, it's so nice to talk with you. It's so interesting. We don't talk about the other persons. We talk about things that for us are important. And I learned also to talk about the present and not stay at the past or at the future. So I think you can really get a good communication.
I just want to comment on something. You made me realize of something that is, well, thank you, Marina, for that question and that comment. And what you said actually made me think, is making me think about the fact that absolutely you're right. Sometimes, very often, we speak about things that are not in the present. We are not really used to commenting, let's say, oh, how beautiful this food is, or oh, look at this or that. Yeah, normally the mind is talking about, the communication is about what happened yesterday or about somebody else or the future plans we're gonna do and whatever else. But the presence is like, poof. But I know people, I mean, it makes me smile and laugh, but really, I know people that if you brought them here and now and say, look at this, look how beautiful this is, they would just look at you and they would think, what are you wasting time about? Does it make sense? It's all about evaluating what it was, comparing what it was, or programming and talking about the future. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
When we do that, it's all ego, image.
Yes, that's right. Maybe we were used like this. I also was used like this. But when I started to be thankful for the things that I have every day, so I normally make a lot of photos. I have 1,000 photos. I think, oh, nice flower. Make it. I think that the sundowns or the rising of the sun were there years and years ago. For me, since 5 years, I see all the spectacular sundowns. As I learned to see the things of the present. This not means that I don't talk about, but I'm paying attention which words I use, and I'm paying attention not to offend the other persons. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, and I personally think that to mention somebody that is not present, unless it's a compliment, but even then, do it on face. It's a waste of space, total waste of space. Yeah. But anyway, Mariella now is writing. So, if I understand rightly, you pay attention to empathy, and I feel that person moves positive sensation in you. After you can open yourself to a new friendship eventually.
Yes, I think here I'm a little bit Austrian.
So tell us about Austria.
If I have a friendship, if I start a friendship, for me it's a very important thing. I make a difference from friends and persons I get known in some circumstance. I think the real friendship can be when both open the spot. It's not that only one person is saying, well, it should be nice to have a friendship with you, and the other person, when the other person is not ready, it's not the moment.
Yes.
I think you just have to give time. I think you have to do something for a friendship. Here in Austria, now I'm also in Austria, I met my girlfriends that I know since the school time. And I lived in Italy, but when I come back, I call them, we meet. They're only 5 minutes and we speak as we spoke 25 years ago. And this feeling is real friendship for me. Then when the other person doesn't expect something and when you do not expect something from the other person, this is friendship for me.
Yes. When you haven't seen each other for like years and in an instant, it's like you saw each other 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Time isn't passed. Yes. Yeah. And it's connected.
It's yes.
And would you say, this is a personal question, while you were talking, I was thinking, would you say that it's also a demonstration, so to speak, of empathy when, like you said, for example, we are keen on the other person, we would like to be friends with the other person, but we can feel that the other person is not ready or is not opening up or is not interested in the moment. Would you say that that's also empathy, to be able to respect that, to feel, to not push it, as you said, just okay?
Yes, I think this is part of empathy, that you can leave the other person as the person is. There's a kind of empathy, it's called cognitive empathy. I explain it. On the floor, you have the number 9. From my side, I see the number 9. You stay in front of me and you don't see 9, you see 6. Yes? So what can I do? I can tell you, well, this is 9, and you tell this is 6.
Yeah.
But this way of empathy means I can accept you, I can accept your opinion, I can accept that you see a 6 and I see a 9. I must not tell you that my opinion is the right opinion. I can let you as you are. And with this number, you can see, well, you have another vision of the world, of the number, as me.
It gives, it's two different kind of messages.
Yes.
Different perspective.
Yep.
Thank you. Beautiful. Natasha says, I think to communicate well, we have to talk with the language of the other person. As you make with us, you always try to meet our comprehension.
Yes. I think the language of the other person is not so difficult to understand, as normally my way to approach this is the sensual channels that every person has. So when a person speaks, there are persons who speaks in a visual way. What this means? It means that he speaks about the pictures. There's another person who speaks about what he heard. And there's another person who speaks about the feelings. So we can make an example to explain it. Close your eyes and you think about your last holidays you had.
Yeah.
And then what do you remember? So you can have 3 different kinds of person.
Yeah.
One person remembers, oh, there was a fantastic view to the sea. It was fabulous. The sun down with all the colors, I liked it. And there's another person who tells you, well, I heard the waves of the sea. It was fantastic. Then in the evening, when I went out with boyfriend, girlfriend, oh, there was a fantastic music in the bar where we went and we danced the whole evening. So, and then there's the third one. It's called kinesthetic one.
Yes, kinesthetic.
So this one is the one who remembers the feelings. He says, well, I feel so well. It was amazing. He don't goes into details for what he's seeing, what he's hearing. He's talking about the emotions. When you talk with somebody and you ask, how were your holidays? So the other person is telling you how he lived the holidays. We talk now about the words, but a visual person, for example, you also can recognize them with the eye movement, you can recognize them with the gesture, with the mimic, with all these things. But attention, you must not categorize them and say, well, you're a visual person, you are like this. No, this person can be a visual person in a certain circumstance, and in another can be an auditive person. So what you learn to take attention, to have a look, a real look to the person, and not to make them into categories. Pay attention who is in front of you. This eye movement, for example, an auditive person is looking upright or up left. Yes, like this. It's a visual person. Yes, an auditive person have the look like this. A kinesthetic person is looking down. So you can make tests. The courses, for example, we make the questions. Yes. You have a partner in front of you. You start with a normal question, so you make a special calibration of the eyes, and then you make different questions, and you see that the eyes go upside. But normally, you don't know what your eyes are making.
No,
so,
you're right. Yes.
I think this technique with the eyes, the technique, sophisticated techniques, but I think to start to look at a person and to hear what he's saying. Normally we make a discussion with a man and a woman. The woman is a visual woman and the man is an auditive man. Yes. And when the woman said, well, darling, I don't know, everything is okay because you're not looking at me. She wants that he looks at her, and he tells, well, honey, there's no problem, I hear you. So she's here and the other person is here, and if they are only speak like this, okay, but if they are discussing, if the person who's the visual person says, well, you don't see this problem, why don't you see a solution, for example, and the auditive person says, I don't understand you. Why can't you hear my words? Why don't you listen at what I say to you? I think it's happening, maybe in some...
yeah, it happens. Now that you said it, it happens all the time. People, yes. Some people say, can't you say it? Make it clear? And somebody else might say, yes. Yeah. Can you hear my point? I hear you? Yeah, fine. Yes.
And here, the way to find the level that they can communicate, it's not that I have to annulate myself. I'm not myself no, it's about what I want. I want to communicate with the other person. I want to understand him. So I can use his way to communicate what's happening. So I can use the words of the other person.
Yes.
I can use the gesture. You have to pay attention to not copy the other person. Otherwise, the other person says, stop this, why you're copying me?
Yes.
You have to do it in a light way, not in
mirroring. Mirroring, they say it's quite taught quite often in NLP. But yes, it would be funny, wouldn't it? If like now I was going like this.
Yeah.
You would get
like this. For example, the neuro-linguistic programming, you learn these things, yes? So the persons who learn this and study this and think, well, I only have to do this and everything is okay. No, it's not like this. You have to make the global person. You have to take your heart. You have to have a look at the whole thing and not only on this one. But it is useful to know which kind of channel I use in certain circumstances and how I can get this rapport, this kind of relationship with the other person. And this one you can make at work, and you also can make it with family. It's no difference.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that you called it the art of communication.
Yeah.
It is an art.
Yeah. As I don't want to call it a technique.
Yeah.
A technique, if somebody says, well, I only have to be clever and make 1, 2, and so it's going on. No, it's an art.
Yeah, and before you master art, you have to really, you might learn the different modalities and techniques, but then you have to master them, and then you have to put them together, and then maybe.
Yes, it's true. And at the end, you have to take into account when you have great emotions, maybe it's more difficult to check all these things.
Yeah.
So this is a challenge to make a good communication also when you're very, very angry, for example. No?
I think to do that, you really have to have mastered all the art of communication, because when we have a strong emotion taking over us, I guess, to not lose control is.
Yes, it's control, but I think it helps very good when you accept this emotion, when you say, well, now I'm angry. Okay, it's okay that I'm angry now. And this helps me to say, well, okay, I'm angry.
And Marina's right as well. Personality tests. Interesting. Probably when you were talking about
Yes.
somebody is talking if it's auditory, kinesthetic, or visual.
For example, in the courses, I make a special test, a little test in which the persons get aware about observing and evaluation. And I also, for example, make a test, how empathic are you? So you can check it. And I think it's great as you have another piece of yourself as well. We talk about soft skills. You say, well, soft skills, what are these things? These are all ability that you have inside you. So everybody has inside these abilities. What you have to do, you have to train them, you have to see them. For example, men say, I'm not empathic, it's not my thing. Because normally maybe you grow in a family where an empathic man is not seen very well. So it's not true that you're not empathic. You can learn it, you can understand yourself, and you can be an empathic person. I think everybody can be empathic. And I like this metaphor that every person has a diamond inside, and this diamond you have to make shine. But you have to clean it.
Yes.
Now it's inside, but I have to clean it, and with courses or with books or with sessions, there are a lot of things you can make this diamond shine. Everything you need, you have inside. This is my way to think about it.
I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Once we have washed, cleaned, and polished the diamond, then yes. Thank you. So, would you say that to learn how to communicate effectively, would you say that it's like an innate ability that we all have and we have to discover, or is something that we actually learn?
I think you should discover it. Maybe you already used some soft skills, but you don't remember them. So I say discover them.
Right.
For example, I don't know, the creativity. A lot of people say I'm not a creative person only because one teacher told me I'm not able to paint. This is not true. Before I start to work with my soft skill, I have to work with the beliefs.
Yes.
As normally there are a lot of beliefs. You believe that you can't do this. You believe that you don't have this soft skill. So work about the beliefs. Discover why do you have this belief? What are the soft skills? The World Economic Forum made a report, Future of Jobs. In this report, Future of Jobs, they made 10 soft skills which are most required in this year.
Which are?
Which are, number one, the complex problem thinking. Problem thinking, everybody has problems. Big problems, little problems. normally at the courses we go in detail, so you get a kind of solution to get out to check the problems. Then we have the critical thinking,
Yes.
the creativity, the people management, the coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and flexibility. These are the 10 top soft skills most required, not only in the business, also in the normal life, in the family. I think it's very interesting to get aware of all these things that we use every day. And there are some kind of instructions how you can get a level higher.
Yes. I'm thinking now, when you were talking about that sometimes we see people or even ourselves in different contexts, in different situations, we communicate differently sometimes, don't you think? Like sometimes we are really good at communicating, and some other times we're not, but it's still us.
Yeah, I think in these cases, it's about the empathic way you have with the feeling, the vibration you have with the other person. The person that you meet can also be a person on the job, but you have this feeling that you can communicate in a certain way. Maybe it's another person with the same job, and you say, well, I'm not able to talk with him.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it really varies.
So here you have the flexibility which we talked about. When you have the flexibility to see the person you have in front of you, you are able to communicate in a better way.
Yeah, you're right. When we are able to observe, we then are able to know what to do, to clear ourselves. Yes. Let me see where somebody wrote something else. Mariela is writing, in the family, we must find compromises to live better.
Yes.
We must compromise.
Compromises, and if you want to invite the other person to find a compromise, you can use this way of communication, that you see the person, that you hear the person, that you feel the person, and then you use the words who uses the other person. When you make these steps, I think you can get a good basic to find the compromises. As I think to find compromises, two people must be on a certain level. Otherwise, what it is, you say, well, we find a compromise, and the other person says, well, yes, as I'm tired, I don't want to hear you anymore, let's find this compromise. Okay, you find a compromise, but at the end it's not a real compromise. It's about that somebody told you what you have to do. But he called it compromise.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well,
I like it when the persons are interested in what I'm doing.
So thank you so much. And thank you for being here. And
bye. Thank you to everybody. Thank you.
I'm very pleased if I can make you understand how important is an honest communication with yourself and with others. If you have some questions, just send me an email. I will answer you as soon as possible.